Did you know that binding bosses before they cast their iframe cancels it? Ever wonder what determines how much mesos you get from Ursus? Welcome back. Here is a part 2 compilation of random useful tips and tricks that MapleStory casuals and even veterans can use. If you enchanted your weapon with a non-D tier soul, the passive can give up to 20 weapon or magic attack, depending on the number of souls in your soul gauge. At 0 souls it gives 0 attack, at 1 soul it gives 10 attack, and every 100 souls after 1 gives 2 more attack, up to 501 souls for the full 20 attack. Be weary though, you lose all your souls when you, go the way of the dinosaurs, or log off. To reduce the flood of daily quests, you can toggle unnecessary quests out in the quest menu here. Even if you're a non-mage class, consider using an extreme blue potion for its increased max mana if you often run out. This includes classes that consume a lot of mana due to specific skills, frequent skill usage, or linked skills. Though, this really only matters if you're unlucky in potion-restricted areas, such as Phase 2 Will, Varus Hilla, and Black Mage. If you're having trouble seeing your own character or the boss you are attacking, the settings menu has the options to turn on silhouettes for both. Ducking is the most broken action in the game. Here is a quick montage. Never mind. Don't always immediately disassemble the shared fit job decent skills. Leveling some give a small amount of all stat, abnormal status resistance, or nothing. But what's also useful about leveling them up is the increased buff duration they get, since casting each buff costs 5% HP. This way, the frequency of using these skills by yourself or your pet decreases, lowering the likelihood of getting hit by a 90% to 99% HP attack immediately after reapplying the buff. The world and character selection screen has a sometimes hard to see sound slider for the login music. Before they probably remove the Threads of Fate and Stellar Detectives content, take advantage of their incredible usefulness. Threads of Fate can give up to 100 herb or mineral pouches a day, wings with unique effects, and a decent daily non-stacking attack buff. Stellar Detectives, on the other hand, provides 2 crucial rings, only one of which can be leveled up to level 4. The Kerr ring gives a long iframe, but the Rar ring is the notable ring I recommend upgrading to level 4, because it can be used along with an Oz ring. Since you can swap both rings with one keybind for presets, it's actually very easy to ring swap mid-boss fight. Skill cooldown resets, including Time Leap for Buccaneer, Spirit Flow for Shade, Time Holding for Zero, and Kaiser's Majesty for Kaiser, works on the 2-hour cooldown of Hero's Echo. If you're not one of these classes or can't find someone else to echo for you, no worries. A Rune of Skill does the same, and also refreshes the cooldown immediately after casting Hero's Echo, for next time. To not be too boring, time to rapid fire some useful websites. Math Bros MapleStory tools calculate meso costs for star forcing, cubing, flames, and inner abilities. Everything EXP has tools to calculate how much EXP you would get from grinding, growth potions, monster park, events, etc. Xenogent's Legion Solver determines where you should put your blocks for a desired shape. Here's me using it. MapleStory Item Simulator lets you create actual items to see their stats immediately or from the ground up. If you're always paranoid about missing a buff before a boss fight and tired of constantly looking back and forth at an infographic, check out Jared Crystal's Buff Checker, which takes a snipped screenshot of your buffs. MS Tracker has an intuitive checklist maker that automatically unchecks tasks at resets and is shared across devices, so you don't get lost by your dailies and weeklies. Oof, enough of that. Might have just been me who hasn't noticed before, but in Guild Covert and Punch King event entrances, there are dummies useful for classes with energy gauges or stacks. It's good to second main classes in the same class category as your main, since the shared cash shop inventory not only lets you share cosmetics, but also vac pets, permanent pets, cash items with set effects, and a lot of other items. Also, speaking of cash item set effects and a slight correction from part 1, using the outfit presets actually allows you to wear your desired cash items over ones with stats or set effects. In other words, you can now utilize the temporary stats or permanent set effects without sacrificing any style points. Binding the interact/harvest key to Y plays through dialogue while also auto-accepting any choices, letting you speed through content. Be careful though, it can put you in an infinite loop or have you accept something you didn't want. Killing the 3000 daily grandest mobs usually takes about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on which grandest maps you go to. So, if you're a daily story player like me and play around resets, you can min-max by setting up your farming presets and using all of the 30-minute buffs about 17 minutes before reset. Complete the dailies, then do them again right after reset, giving you almost 48 hours of freedom until next time. If you haven't gotten the free decent stats from getting familiar badges yet, check out this Excel sheet which highlights the difficulty of each familiar to get in each set. There are 2 ways of doing the Phase 1 Black Mage overlap bind. The first way is using your origin slightly after one of the knights disappears to slam, before the other one moves. If you can't afford to use your origin first though, the second way is immediately using Blink to fly up when you enter to avoid aggro. Then, use your bind when one of the knights slams onto the other. Make sure your Blink is maxed and nobody else takes aggro, or both might not work. Speaking of binds, this really only applies to Lotus and Lucid. Nonetheless, binding when Phase 3 Lotus uses purple meteors, or when Phase 2 Lucid uses lasers, cancels their iframe and puts their skills into cooldown. The formula that determines how much Mesos Ursus gives can be quite confusing, so I'll just put it on screen with an example. It boils down to, the higher level you are, the more Mesos you'll get. So, make sure you do Ursus on your highest level character for the most Mesos. That about wraps it up. Be sure to let me know if you learned at least one new thing and any other random useful tips and tricks I missed. Until next time, goodbye.